From their invention in the 1890s to their establishment as an art form in the 1910s, movies progressed rapidly. But what were these early films actually like? Black and white, silent and brief, the earliest movies were often just slice-of-life cinema, showing interesting recordings of real life. They had no stories, no plots, no characters, they were just captured moments. There were a few early experiments with storytelling. In 1896, a young French secretary named Alice Guy-Blaché created La Fée du Chou, or The Cabbage Fairy, often credited as the first narrative film. At just 20 years old, she became cinema's first female filmmaker. Her brief fairy tale about babies being born from cabbages planted the seeds of the storytelling potential of the movies. Building on these early experiments with narrative film, French magician Georges Méliès would take cinematic storytelling to spectacular new heights. Using his background in stagecraft, Méliès created films with compelling narratives and pioneered editing techniques that transformed movies from novelty into art. Let's take a look at Méliès' 1902 film, A Trip to the Moon, one of cinema's earliest masterpieces. In his 14-minute-long film, Méliès tells the fantastic tale of an expedition to the moon. Wizards built a cannon to shoot themselves into the moon, quite literally, giving us one of the most iconic scenes of early cinema. With no dialogue, characters made exaggerated gestures, giving silent films their distinctive theatrical feel. Remember, this was 1902, 60 years before the actual moon landing. The idea of visiting the moon was pure fantasy, letting Méliès play with audiences' imagination. Although shot like all early films in black and white, this colorized version was painstakingly hand-tinted with paint, over 12,000 individual frames. Unlike early Edison films, Trip to the Moon has a complete narrative. Characters embark on an adventure, face danger, and return home triumphant. There are rudimentary visual effects. By featuring space travel and alien life, Méliès created the first science fiction, or sci-fi, movie, launching a genre that remains popular today. Despite his many innovations, Méliès maintained a fixed camera point of view, placing the camera as if it was in the best seat in a theater. The camera never moved, creating a two-dimensional, stage-like quality. Inspired by Méliès, American filmmaker Edwin S. Porter became one of the first to bring cinematic storytelling to America. Working for Edison's company, Porter filmed The Great Train Robbery in 1903, a landmark of American early film. Porter revolutionized filmmaking by shooting on location and moving his camera to give viewers exciting new perspectives, like placing it on top of a moving train. This gave his film a three-dimensional quality that truly placed viewers into a scene. Porter achieved another historic first. Watch carefully here. He pivots his camera mid-scene, following the robbers as they run from the train into the woods. This technique, later called a camera pan, freed cinema from the fixed perspective of theater. Porter allowed the camera to rove about, making the audience part of the movie. Porter saved his biggest surprise for last. After the happy ending, one bandit appears in close-up, stares directly at the audience, raises his gun, and fires. Legend claims some viewers screamed or fainted. Almost a century later, Martin Scorsese paid homage to this moment in the ending of his film, Goodfellas. Méliès and Blaché gave movies their first gift, narrative. Porter delivered the second, freedom of camera movement. Together, these pioneers elevated movie making from novelty to craft, but the medium was still waiting for its first true artist, someone who would take narrative and camera movement and forge them into the grand Hollywood movie making experience.